Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to KSF Live. My name is Professor Kyra Lee, and we are coming to you live from the East Bay on the 19th of December. We are super happy to welcome Ed Faso from the American Red Cross, and today we are talking about sickle cell disease, traits, and health testing. Welcome, Ed.
Thank you so much, Professor Lee. I'm happy to be here and answer all your questions and talk a little bit more about the importance of donating blood for patients with sickle cell.
Absolutely. So tell me how you got into this work. What brought you to the Red Cross, and what made you specifically tackle the sickle cell donor space within the Red Cross's mission?
That's a fantastic question. And we all have our different mission moments when we join an organization like the Red Cross and what we do with this organization. But for me, it started with high school and donating blood in high school and seeing the impact that I had outside of missing class for a little bit when you donate blood, but having the impact of saving a life. And I carried that on into college, and was taking first aid for first responders and going through fire service classes and whatnot. And as I was going through the college, my college experience, um, I got more into working in nonprofits. And when I graduated, I saw an opportunity to join the Red Cross as an account manager to to be a part of this team in 2008 to run blood drives, host blood drives, and work with the community to spread the importance of donating blood in general. And what brought me to the Sickle Cell Initiative, um, earlier on in my career with the Red Cross, we had a colleague, her name was Chasney Brown. And Chasney actually had the role of the sickle cell account manager here in Northern California. She was also a sickle cell warrior. Chasney did a fantastic job here in Northern California in creating relationships with the community to spread awareness about sickle cell disease and get more folks to come in and donate blood. But unfortunately, Chasney passed away due to complications from sickle cell disease. And it left a very big void here in Northern California Red Cross, but also within the community and obviously her family and friends. We all miss her very, very much. But she did so much for the Sickle Cell Initiative and created such a legacy. We're still running some of her blood drives today that she started way back when. And so when I saw the opportunity to come over to the Sickle Cell Initiative side of things, I thought, well, this is a fantastic initiative to be a part of, and also to reach out to communities that are underrepresented within our blood donor base. So speaking of folks of African heritage, of the Latinx and Hispanic communities, and our Asian communities, where our donor base isn't as large, but the importance of them coming out to donate will have such a great impact for people that need blood, especially sickle cell patients. So that's kind of how I got to the Red Cross and why I'm doing what I'm doing today.
I love that. We're going to jump straight into it because you gave me a crash course when we were first planning to schedule our blood drive at Richmond City Hall,
Yes.
which will be hosted on the Friday following Christmas, Friday, December 26th, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And there are a bunch of myths in the community. There's a lot of misinformation in the community that sort of deters folks that are very needed in this fight, very needed in the aftermath of illness and injury crisis when blood becomes a major factor in patient survival. One of the first questions I want to ask you directly is, are folks that carry the sickle cell trait welcome to donate blood?
Another fantastic question. Yes, they are encouraged to donate blood. Um, our blood donor base is primarily made up of folks of European ancestry or identify as Caucasian. Um, Less than 5% of our donor base identifies as African American or of African heritage.
Mm.
But 1 in 3 people who identify as African American or of African heritage are a match for patients with sickle cell disease. It's because they carry the specific uh, antigen combination of CE and K negative. One of the benefits of donating blood with the Red Cross is, one, we'll test your blood for the sickle cell trait, and we'll let the donor know if they're a sickle cell fighter. And we'll let them know within a couple of weeks on the blood donor app. And like I said, it's good information to have if you're a trait carrier. It's also great information to have to know that you're a sickle cell fighter and that you can help somebody within your community.
So let's talk about that a bit more. What I have found over the last 3 weeks after meeting you is that I am surrounded by folks, including my own partner, that happen to be carriers of the trait. So could you give us a brief description of what does it mean to be a sickle cell trait carrier?
So a sickle cell trait carrier, the disease is the most common genetic blood disease in the United States. And in order for it to be passed down generation to generation, if one parent carries a trait and the other parent carries a trait, they stand a higher risk of having a child with sickle cell disease. 1 in 4 of their children will be born with sickle cell. 2 out of the 4 will be carrying the trait. Now, when we do test for the trait, it's good information to have. So you can plan if you're going to be starting a family. You can talk to your partner about, I'm a trait carrier, and this is what could be happening. And so you can prepare your family for that and take the necessary precautions. And there's other ways to treat sickle cell disease with gene therapy and bone marrow transplants. And with technology getting to the point of patients sometimes not needing a transfusion as much or at all with sickle cell disease. We're making those strides within medical science, but still, an average patient with sickle cell disease requires up to 10 units of blood transfused monthly for to stave off those symptoms like chronic fatigue and chronic pain.
Thank you for that. So when we talk about our upcoming blood drive that is hosted in West County, is hosted in Richmond, we are welcoming everyone. I want to clear that up for those that have been asking. Everyone is welcome to donate,
Yes.
but we do definitely want folks from the African American and Latinx communities because of what you taught me the other week about compatibility. So
Yeah.
could you share a bit about when we're treating sickle cell, when we're treating genetic traits and making blood matches in your profession? What are some of the statistics that we may not know that prevent African Americans and people of color from receiving blood that is compatible for our particular case as patients?
Yes. Like I said earlier, our blood donor base is about 78 to 80% of donors who identify as European or Caucasian, and like less than 5% identify as African American. With our Latinx donors, it's more around 6 to 8% that identify as Latinx. Now, when we look at these two underrepresented groups, they have the power and the ability to be a match for so many people. And it's not just African Americans being a match for patients with sickle cell disease, because the 1 in 3 have the CE and K negative antigens. But more than 50%, it's around 56 to 57 of folks who identify as African American are O blood type. And 58% of folks who identify as Latinx and Hispanic are O blood type. And we use so much type O blood at our hospitals for patients that are coming into the emergency room, whether that be an accident or a trauma victim, because our teams in these rooms do not have the time to type that person's blood and make sure that, they're A negative or they're B positive. Let's get them an A negative or B positive unit. They're automatically getting O positive or O negative blood. And with the underrepresentation in the blood donor base, and if we can increase that, the more O blood type we're going to have, and the less shortages we're going to experience at our hospitals. So we won't have the need to import blood from other regions.
So let's bring this full circle. For folks that are African American or Hispanic, we have some of the highest populations of universally compatible blood. O is a universally compatible blood type, right?
Correct.
And we are also folks that tend to find ourselves under medical care a lot, higher victims of violent crime, higher victims of medical experiences, and higher reports of complaints when it comes to feeling safe in medical situations.
Right.
One of the things that we could do, based on what you're teaching me here today, is become more active as donors, making sure that once we go to the hospital and we are in crisis, we have done the work as a community to have blood available to heal us when we're in need. Is that true?
That is very correct. This is very true. What we're doing, and to bring it full circle, is we're providing access to compatible blood, and we're decreasing that gap of a compatible match for someone within our communities. Healthcare the way it is today, there's different tiers, and folks have access more than other folks do. But if we're providing the blood within our communities and having people come out that are a compatible match, the less likelihood we have of somebody waiting for that unit and sometimes not ever receiving it. Um, One of the most heart-wrenching and tough things to hear is how long a sickle cell patient has to wait to receive a unit of blood. And sometimes that unit's crossing state lines to get to this one patient. And this disease affects over 100,000 people in the United States. It's the most common one. And to have that many people wait for a transfusion and sometimes be their own advocates to let the doctors know that I'm a sickle cell patient and I need CE and K negative antigen blood to stave off these symptoms. Um, Us being out there in the community as the Red Cross and organizations like the K Stewart Foundation to partner and bring awareness to that and bring folks in to donate, the less folks are going to have to wait in the hospitals for that compatible unit.
So we do have our Pride and Purpose Blood Drive kicking off on December 26th right here in Richmond. You do need an appointment because we do have the Red Cross's team coming in to make sure that each and every donor is treated with care and compassion during what will take about, 30 minutes from start to finish for each person to complete?
Yes, start to finish, it'll be about 30 to 45 minutes. And if you have an appointment, it's kind of like having reservations at a restaurant. If you don't have a
Absolutely.
reservation, you don't have a table.
And
So
we know how that is.
so make your appointment, come in. We'll bring refreshments for you. So when you're done donating, you'll be able to rehydrate your body with some juice and some water. And we have some snacks there at the table also. I'll also add that all donors coming in to donate blood that day will be receiving a $20 Amazon gift card from the Red Cross as a thank you for donating blood and a Red Cross t-shirt.
We appreciate you so much. Speaking of thank yous, this year is our first kickoff. I would like to personally thank the Together We Rise Richmond Coalition to End Gender-Based Violence, who came aboard to help as one of our first coalition partners. The TRK Events team and DJ Shug for jumping right in, for being a creator of this space and identifying that Black men specifically would like to do their part to make sure that we have adequate blood supply for our community. Faith in Action East Bay for jumping aboard, promoting, supporting, and calling upon those who believe in faith traditions to address this problem head on. And the American Red Cross, spearheaded by Ed right here today, who has taught me so much about the importance of getting ahead of the problem, making sure that we are prepared before we get to the hospital for an adequate blood supply to treat each patient as they come in. In addition to, we are also dedicating this particular kickoff to a special young lady by the name of Jelani Leaks right here in the East Bay. Jelani was diagnosed at 3 years old. According to her mother, Mika, she has already been hospitalized 4 times this year, and she is 10. So for anyone who would like to come out and support, bring a gift bag to brighten the day of a 10-year-old sickle cell warrior. This particular drive, the Pride and Purpose Blood Drive, will be donated to her success, her successful survival, her successful fight, and reminding folks that not only do we grieve the loss of those that we have already recognized as ancestors in the sickle cell fight, but we are fighting daily for those that are carrying this torch for us right here at home. So I want to thank Jelani Leaks. I want to thank her mother. I want to thank Ed for making it very clear and visible this holiday season that we have work to do. I would also like to reiterate for our listeners the importance of making this a cultural practice that we begin to adopt. And I'll circle back to you with this final question, Ed. What would be the difference for the American Red Cross, for the African American community, for the Hispanic community, if 50%, if one person out of every household donated on an annual basis, what change would we see in our medical experiences?
You would see us not having to import blood from other regions and depleting those supplies. We would be able to handle a situation where we'd see a spike, where we could see a spike in the need for blood donors, um, and a need at the hospitals. Having more folks come out to donate blood from these underrepresented communities that we're a part of will mean more O blood type on the shelves, more lives will be saved at our hospitals, and there will be a lot less suffering for patients with sickle cell disease. Uh, it's a horrible disease, and it's very, very tough. So like I said, it's heart wrenching to see somebody go through a pain crisis, and for us to have the power of saving somebody's life just based on rolling up your sleeve and taking 30 minutes to 45 minutes out of your day to help someone like Jelani not experience a pain crisis. It's the world to everyone to be there for not just Jelani, but everyone within the sickle cell community to help them out.
Absolutely. So I would like to thank our current sponsors and our current supporters that have already come out, pledged to attend, have already decided that they are jumping in and getting on board. First of all, once again, TRK Events. Secondly, I'd like to thank Dr. Jamila Brown, Congresswoman for Richmond. I would like to thank Rowena Brown, Councilwoman at Large for Oakland, City of Oakland. I would like to thank Demlish Johnson, Brandon Evans, Keisha Gallen, Salon Harrison. I would like to thank Hey Fam and OutPro and Start Out. I would like to thank Kay Stewart and the Kay Stewart Foundation team. We would like to thank Mika and Jelani for coming aboard and bringing awareness to this very important space. I would like to thank John Joya and Supervisor Scales Preston, the entire Together We Rise Richmond team, and everyone who has jumped in, given time, and committed to participating in our first cultural shift in outcomes and impacts in this community. We do not have to suffer. And this is a painful disease that we could end in one generation with proper testing. Knowing your status, getting tested, and donating once a year or more is the way that we bring about the end to suffering in sickle cell warriors, in the African American community, in the Latinx community, and beyond. So Ed, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for educating us on how this works and what we can do to take our power back. And to Jelani, we will see you on Friday, December 26th. We will post the link in the chat, and I hope to see everyone registering to donate. We have 20 slots left, and we want them all filled. Again, my name is Professor Kyra Lee. This is KSF Live, where we change outcomes by working collectively. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Professor Lee.